The 1960s were a time of innovation, with toys becoming more exciting and unique. However, not all toys were as safe as they seemed. One of the most dangerous toys from this era was the Easy Bake Oven. While it seemed like a fun kitchen toy for children, it could actually cause serious burns. The oven used a real light bulb as its heat source, which got dangerously hot. Many children suffered burns from touching the oven or from overheated parts. The toy was redesigned over time to make it safer, but initially it was a real risk for children. Despite its early danger, the Easy Bake Oven remains a beloved childhood memory for many. What's the most dangerous toy you had as a child that you can remember? Share your story in the comments. Another toy that gained popularity in the 1960s was the Clackers. These were two hard plastic balls connected by a string that children would swing back and forth. Although it was fun, Clackers had a major safety flaw. The balls would often shatter, sending sharp pieces flying at the children playing with them. Many children were injured by flying shards of plastic, and the toy was eventually banned. The Clackers' sharp impact and dangerous design made it one of the most notorious toys of the 1960s. Despite the ban, many remember Clackers as a toy of their youth. They were eventually replaced by safer alternatives, but the Clackers still represent a dangerous moment in toy history. Next up, the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun was a popular toy gun that many boys received during the 1960s. This BB gun was marketed as a fun and safe way for children to practice shooting. However, the gun's design and power made it dangerous for children. It was capable of shooting small metal pellets at high speeds, often causing injury. Many accidents occurred with children accidentally shooting themselves or others. The gun became a source of controversy, as it was seen as promoting unsafe behavior for young children. Over time, stricter regulations were put in place for such toys. Despite this, the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun remains an iconic toy, albeit a dangerous one. The Penny Novelty toy was another toy from the 1960s that was banned due to its dangerous nature. These were small, cheap toys sold in vending machines that could cause significant harm. Many of these toys were poorly made, with tiny parts that posed choking hazards. One such toy, a small mechanical car, had sharp metal parts that could easily cut a child's skin. Others were small enough to be swallowed, leading to a higher risk of choking. These toys were often made with toxic paints, adding another layer of danger. Due to frequent injuries and safety concerns, Penny Novelty toys were removed from the market. They serve as a reminder of how toy safety regulations have evolved over the years. Finally, we have the lead-painted toys, which were common in the 1960s, especially in dolls and action figures. At the time, manufacturers didn't fully understand the dangers of lead-based paint. Many toys were painted with this toxic substance, putting children at serious risk. Lead poisoning can cause brain damage, developmental delays, and other long-term health problems. As the harmful effects of lead were understood, these toys were banned and removed from store shelves. The lead-painted toys of the 1960s serve as a stark example of how safety standards in the toy industry have dramatically improved. Today, children's toys are carefully regulated to avoid such risks. Another notorious toy from the 1960s was the Yarts, lawn darts, a game that seemed innocent but caused many injuries. The game consisted of large metal darts with sharp, pointed tips that were meant to land in a target ring. However, these darts often flew unpredictably, and many accidents occurred when children were struck by them. The sharp points of the darts caused serious injuries, including puncture wounds and eye damage. In fact, several deaths were linked to the game, leading to its eventual ban. Despite its dangerous nature, darts were a popular outdoor activity for many families during the 1960s. Today, they are banned in several countries, serving as a reminder of the risks hidden in seemingly fun toys. The toxic slime toy was another dangerous item from the 1960s that caused a lot of concern. Sold in small plastic containers, this green, gooey substance was marketed as fun for kids to squish and mold. However, the slime contained toxic chemicals like formaldehyde, which can cause skin irritation and even serious poisoning. Many children were exposed to these harmful substances without even realizing it. The slime's dangerous ingredients led to severe reactions in some children, ranging from rashes to more serious illnesses. As the health risks became known, the toy was pulled from shelves. The toxic slime serves as an example of how safety standards for children's toys have become much stricter since the 1960s. Next, we have the Atomic Energy Lab, which was a toy set designed to let children experiment with real radioactive materials. Marketed as an educational product, this toy included uranium ore and radium, allowing kids to conduct their own atomic experiments. The set was intended to introduce children to the wonders of science, but it posed a serious health risk. Exposure to radioactive materials can cause cancer, radiation burns, and even genetic mutations. It wasn't until after many cases of radiation exposure that the toy was recalled. This toy is a shocking reminder of how toy safety regulations have evolved, and it's hard to imagine such a product being sold today. The Creepy Crawlers toy was extremely popular in the 1960s, but it was far from safe. This toy allowed children to create rubber bugs and creatures by pouring plastic into molds and heating them with a small metal tray. The heat source used was a real metal plate that got dangerously hot, leading to severe burns for many children. The plastic materials also contained harmful chemicals that could cause skin irritation and other health issues. Although the toy was marketed as a fun and educational crafting kit, its design made it a significant safety hazard. The Creepy Crawlers kit was eventually redesigned to be safer, but it left a lasting impression on many as a dangerous 1960s toy. Lastly, we have the Doll Heads with Sharp Hairpins, a toy that many children of the 1960s likely remember. These dolls had hairpins or metal spikes that were used to create hairstyles. Unfortunately, the sharp metal pins posed a serious risk of injury. Many children ended up getting poked by the pins, resulting in cuts and eye injuries. Despite the danger, these dolls were still popular, and many parents were unaware of the risks. The sharp hairpins were eventually removed from doll designs, and the toy was discontinued. This toy highlights how toys that seemed harmless could cause significant harm due to poor design and lack of safety standards at the time. One of the most infamous toys of the 1960s was the X-ray glasses. Marketed as a way for children to see through walls and clothing, these glasses were anything but magical. Instead of using any real X-ray technology, they relied on a simple optical illusion created by tinted lenses. However, the idea of X-ray vision was both misleading and dangerous. Children wearing these glasses could hurt their eyes because the lenses were poorly made and lacked proper UV protection. Despite the safety concerns, these glasses were widely sold, and many kids were fascinated by the concept. Eventually, they were pulled from stores due to the misleading claims and potential harm to children's vision. Have you ever had a toy that was more dangerous than it seemed? The Big Little Mechanical Baby Doll was another toy that gained popularity in the 1960s but caused significant injuries. This doll was designed to crawl across the floor, but its movement was controlled by a powerful spring mechanism. Unfortunately, the doll's springs were too strong, and when the doll malfunctioned, it often snapped back, injuring children. Many kids got their fingers caught in the spring or suffered bruises and cuts. The doll was eventually discontinued after multiple reports of injuries. Despite its mechanical malfunctions, it remained a popular toy until its recall. Have you ever had a toy malfunction in a way that caused harm? Next, we have the toy crossbows, which were sold to children in the 1960s as a fun outdoor activity. These toys were designed to shoot small plastic arrows, but they were incredibly powerful for a child's toy. The crossbows were capable of shooting the arrows at high speeds, causing injuries to the face, eyes, and skin. In some cases, the plastic arrows were even able to puncture skin. Despite the obvious risks, these toys were sold with minimal safety warnings. As injuries began to mount, toy crossbows were banned and removed from shelves. If you had a crossbow toy as a child, did you ever get hurt while playing with it? The Pet Rocks were a quirky toy from the 1960s that seemed harmless at first glance, but they could still cause trouble. These were literally rocks packaged in a box marketed as pets that required no care. While it didn't seem dangerous, children often played with the rocks in unsafe ways, such as throwing them or using them as projectiles. Some children even tried to swallow the rocks, which posed serious choking hazards. Though the pet rock craze didn't last long, it led to injuries and highlighted the fact that seemingly harmless toys could be risky. Can you believe that something as simple as a rock became a trend and potentially a dangerous one? Lastly, we have the moon shoes, which were marketed as a way for children to experience the feeling of bouncing like an astronaut. These shoes had springs in them that allowed children to jump higher than usual. While they seemed like a fun novelty, they were incredibly dangerous. The spring mechanism was poorly designed, and many children lost their balance and fell, leading to broken bones, sprains, and head injuries. The shoes were discontinued after numerous reports of accidents. Today, moon shoes are remembered as one of the more bizarre and dangerous trends of the 1960s. Did you ever try moon shoes or something similar growing up? Another dangerous toy from the 1960s was the dart guns, which were often sold with plastic darts that could be shot from a small handheld device. The darts were frequently made with hard plastic tips, and many of them were pointy enough to cause injury. Children often aimed them at each other or at themselves, leading to eye injuries and puncture wounds. Some dart guns even came with small suction cups on the tips, which didn't prevent harm when fired with force. The dangers of these dart guns became clear when accidents, particularly to the eyes, became more frequent. Eventually, many dart gun brands were recalled due to the safety concerns surrounding their use. Have you ever played with a dart gun? Did it ever cause an injury? One toy that seemed fun but turned out to be dangerous was the flammable super ball. These rubber balls were marketed as being indestructible and bouncy, which made them a favorite for children. However, the balls were made with highly flammable materials. In some cases, these balls caught fire when exposed to heat sources like candles or matches. Because they were so bouncy, they often landed in dangerous areas, near fire or heat sources. Children were seriously injured in fires caused by these balls. Over time, the manufacturing process was revised and flammability standards were put in place for similar toys. Have you ever seen a toy catch fire while playing? Another toy that became a safety concern was the shooting cap guns. These toy guns were designed to shoot small caps that made a loud bang, mimicking the sound of real gunfire. Although the caps were made of a chemical compound that was supposed to be safe, they could sometimes explode with too much force. The chemicals used to make the gunshots created a fire hazard, and there were reports of children being burned when the caps went off. Many of these cap guns were recalled, especially those with faulty mechanisms that caused the caps to ignite prematurely. The sound and the thrill of the toy made it a hit among kids, but the dangers were too great. Did you ever have a cap gun? Were you ever worried about how loud or intense it was? A more recent but still dangerous toy that began in the 1960s was the Spirograph. While it seemed like a harmless art set for children to create beautiful designs, the sharp metal gears inside posed a risk. Many children accidentally pricked their fingers on the gears, leading to cuts and infections. Additionally, the metal components could be a choking hazard if they came loose. Despite these risks, the Spirograph remained one of the most popular creative toys of the time. It was only after some serious accidents that manufacturers made modifications to improve safety. Did you ever make intricate designs with a Spirograph, or was it too risky for you? The lawn mower toy was another toy marketed in the 1960s that looked like a fun gardening tool for children. The toy was designed to look like a miniature push lawnmower, but it often had sharp edges. Children would push these toy mowers around, but in many cases, the handles or blades had points that could cause harm. Many kids ended up scraping their skin or cutting themselves while pushing the toy across the ground. The toy was eventually modified to be safer, but for a time, it was a source of concern for parents. Did you ever have a toy like this that seemed safe but turned out to be harmful? The whipcord toy from the 1960s was another item that seemed harmless, but it caused many accidents. This toy consisted of a long, thin cord that children would twirl around like a lasso. The fast-moving cord often caused serious injuries, especially to the eyes and face. Many kids were struck in the face with the whipcord, leading to painful bruises and cuts. It didn't take long for safety concerns to mount, and the toy was eventually pulled from the shelves. What seemed like a fun, active toy quickly became a safety hazard for children. Have you ever had a toy that seemed harmless but ended up being dangerous? One of the most controversial toys of the 1960s was the Creepy Crawler's Oven. This toy allowed children to create their own rubber creatures by pouring plastic into molds and then heating it in a small oven. The oven itself became the source of many accidents, as it used a real light bulb for heat, which could get extremely hot. Numerous burns and injuries occurred when children touched the oven without realizing how hot it was. The toy was eventually recalled, but not before many children had been hurt. Despite its safety issues, Creepy Crawlers was a nostalgic favorite for many, though its risks could not be ignored. Did you ever have a Creepy Crawlers kit? And if so, did you ever get burned? The Plastic Army Men set was a classic toy from the 1960s, but it had hidden dangers. These small plastic figures were often left lying around the house, and their small size made them a choking hazard, particularly for younger children. The Army Men were sometimes painted with lead-based paints, which posed a serious health risk if children put them in their mouths. The bright colors and military theme made them a favorite toy, but their potential dangers were often overlooked. Eventually, safety standards improved, and the use of lead paint was banned in toys. Can you remember having a set of Army Men? Did you ever encounter any dangers while playing with them? The hula hoop was one of the most iconic toys of the 1960s, but it also had a dangerous side. While the hula hoop itself wasn't inherently harmful, it led to numerous injuries when children tried to perform tricks or spin them for long periods. Many children lost their balance and fell, resulting in sprained ankles, twisted knees, and even head injuries. The toy was so popular that it became a widespread trend, but parents didn't always realize the potential for injury. Despite the safety risks, the hula hoop remained a beloved toy, with people trying to master it in fun and sometimes dangerous ways. Did you ever get injured while playing with a hula hoop? Or did you have fun with it safely? The Jumbo Inflatable Ball was a toy designed for outdoor play, popular during the 1960s. While it seemed like a simple way to have fun, these large inflatable balls often led to injuries. The ball's size made it difficult to control, causing children to trip over it or collide with hard surfaces. Some kids even fell into sharp objects or were hit by the ball at high speed, causing cuts or bruises. Over time, the toy became less popular as the risks became clearer. Despite its dangers, the Jumbo Inflatable Ball is still remembered as part of childhood in the 1960s. Did you ever play with one? And how did it go for you? The shaker toys from the 1960s were another seemingly harmless toy that caused many accidents. These toys were small, handheld instruments that made noise when shaken. However, they were often made of cheap, fragile materials. Some contained small parts that could break off, becoming choking hazards for younger children. Others had sharp edges that were dangerous if the toy broke. As safety concerns grew, these toys were eventually recalled, and the design of children's toys became much stricter. Despite their dangerous nature, shaker toys were still popular at the time. Did you ever play with one of these toys, or know someone who did? The flying helicopters were another favorite toy from the 1960s, but they were extremely risky. These small, plastic helicopters were powered by a string that children would pull to send the helicopter flying into the air. However, the propellers were sharp and could easily cause cuts and injuries. Many children ended up with scratched faces, especially when the helicopters were launched too close. The dangerous design, coupled with the potential for accidents, led to the toy being banned in some areas. Despite the warnings, the flying helicopter was still considered a fun toy for many kids. Have you ever experienced an injury while playing with a flying toy? The toy gasoline cars were a popular toy for boys during the 1960s, but they were filled with dangers. These small toy cars ran on real gasoline or other highly flammable liquids, making them a fire hazard. Many kids accidentally spilled the gasoline, causing fires in their homes or garages. In addition to the risk of fire, the toxic fumes from the gasoline could cause breathing problems or poisoning if inhaled. The danger posed by these toy cars was severe enough that they were eventually taken off the market. Can you imagine a toy car running on gasoline today? What kind of toy danger do you remember from your own childhood? The Spin and Win toy was a popular game in the 1960s that allowed children to spin a wheel to see where it landed. While it seemed like harmless fun, the toy had sharp edges that could easily cut or scrape a child's fingers or hands. The plastic pieces were also very brittle, and many broke during play, turning into sharp shards. Children who got their fingers caught in the spinning mechanism often experienced painful injuries. As with many toys from the 1960s, safety was not always a priority. After several incidents, the toy was discontinued. Have you ever had a toy that seemed fun but turned out to be a safety risk? Finally, the magic markers and ink sets from the 1960s were designed for creative play, but they often contained toxic chemicals. These markers were bright and colorful, but many were made with harmful inks that caused skin irritation or poisoning if ingested. Children were often unaware of the dangers and would use the markers on their skin or accidentally ingest the ink. The toxic ingredients led to health issues, and many brands of markers were recalled. Despite the risks, these toys were sold in large quantities, and parents were often unaware of the dangers. Did you ever use a magic marker set or ink pens as a child? And did you experience any issues with them? The toxic bubble bath was one of the more peculiar toys from the 1960s. Marketed as a fun way to add bubbles to bath time, this bubble bath was made with chemicals that were later found to be toxic. The bright, colorful bubbles were full of harmful ingredients that caused skin irritation, rashes, and, in some cases, serious allergic reactions. Many parents used it without realizing the health risks involved. Eventually, it was pulled from the shelves once the dangers of the chemicals were discovered. Looking back, it's hard to imagine a bath toy being so harmful. Did you ever use bubble bath products as a kid that caused irritation? The superhero cape toy was another seemingly innocent item, but it led to numerous injuries in the 1960s. These capes were often made from cheap, flimsy fabric that could easily catch fire. Many children, while pretending to be superheroes, got too close to heat sources, leading to burns and injuries. The material used for the capes was not fire-resistant, which made it especially dangerous for kids who were running around playing. After several incidents, these capes were discontinued and replaced with safer versions. Did you ever wear a cape while playing as a kid? Were you ever worried about safety? The Slinkies were hugely popular in the 1960s, but they also came with hidden risks. This simple toy, a coil that walked downstairs, could cause injury if not handled properly. Many children would stretch the Slinky to its maximum length and get their fingers caught in the coils. The sharp metal edges could cause painful cuts. In addition, the toy could sometimes snap back unexpectedly, injuring the child in the face or eyes. Despite the minor injuries caused by Slinkies, they were considered a fun and entertaining toy for many. Did you ever experience a slinky injury, or were you a fan of this toy? The dangerous skateboards of the 1960s were another item that seemed like a fun way to get around, but it posed serious risks. Early skateboards were made with wooden decks and metal wheels, which were very different from the modern, safer skateboards we see today. The rough design made them difficult to control, and the metal wheels often caused the board to slip out from under the rider. Many children fell and sustained broken bones, cuts, and bruises. Although skateboarding became a popular sport, these early versions were a dangerous way for children to get around. Did you ever try skateboarding in the 60s? And did you ever have an accident? The toy gasoline-powered motorcycles were another dangerous toy from the 1960s, designed to let kids race their own mini motorcycles. These toys were powered by gasoline and were capable of reaching high speeds. While they were marketed as fun and fast, the risk of injury was very real. The gasoline-powered engines were often poorly constructed, leading to leaks, fires, and explosions. Many children suffered burns or were seriously injured while playing with them. Due to the dangerous nature of these toys, they were pulled from shelves and replaced with safer alternatives. Would you ever trust a gasoline-powered toy motorcycle for your child today? The Stomp Rockets were another toy that appeared fun but quickly became dangerous in the 1960s. These rockets were powered by stomping on a plastic pump, launching them into the air. The rockets were supposed to fly straight, but the force often caused them to ricochet unpredictably. Children were hit by these fast-moving projectiles, causing eye injuries and bruises. The danger increased when the rockets were launched near other people, causing unexpected harm. Despite their hazardous nature, the Stomp Rockets were incredibly popular during the 1960s. Eventually, safety concerns led to their discontinuation. Did you ever play with a Stomp Rocket, and did it ever hit you or someone else? The dangerous chemistry sets, sold in the 1960s, were marketed as a fun and educational way for kids to explore science. However, many of these kits included toxic chemicals like sulfur, mercury, and even asbestos. These chemicals could cause serious burns, respiratory problems, or poisoning if mishandled. Children often had no idea about the dangers of the chemicals, and the sets didn't come with sufficient safety instructions. After numerous reports of children getting injured, these sets were eventually pulled from shelves. The safety risks associated with these toys led to the creation of stricter guidelines for science-related toys. Did you ever have a chemistry set as a child, and what was your experience? The toy guns with realistic caps were another dangerous toy from the 1960s that caused many injuries. These toy guns were designed to make a loud noise when fired, mimicking the sound of real gunfire. However, the caps used in these toys were made with explosive materials, making them a serious fire hazard. Children would often load the caps incorrectly or mishandle the toy, leading to explosions that caused burns or hearing damage. The toys also promoted unsafe behavior and desensitized children to the dangers of real weapons. After several incidents, toy guns with caps were banned in many areas. Did you ever play with toy guns that made loud noises, and did they cause any problems? The Gumby and Pokey toys were popular in the 1960s, but they were made of a material that posed significant risks. These toys were made from a type of plastic that was known to crack and break easily. When broken, the sharp edges posed a risk of cuts and injuries. Additionally, the toys contained small parts that could easily be swallowed, making them a choking hazard. Many parents were unaware of the risks, and the toys were widely sold. It wasn't until reports of injuries and choking incidents that the toys were recalled. Did you ever play with a Gumby or Pokey toy? And were you ever hurt by them? The water guns from the 1960s were designed for fun water fights, but they had a major flaw. These guns often had pressurized water systems that could easily break, spraying water at high speeds. The force from the water could cause eye injuries or hurt children if they were hit at close range. The water guns were also made with cheap materials, leading to broken plastic parts that posed sharp edges. Despite the safety concerns, water guns remained a popular toy during the 1960s, but their dangerous potential was eventually recognized. They were redesigned to make them safer for children to use. Have you ever had a water gun fight, and did it ever cause an injury?